So this next story, we have apparently there's a new district attorney in Manhattan, and he's one of those guys that was supported and funded by George Soros, his open, I guess his Open Society, and so this Manhattan DA is a Marxist, and so he's doing under the idea of criminal justice reform. He's doing some things that are basically going to cause criminals to really have no consequences for committing crime. So, you want to go through the facts of the case?
So on Monday, Alvin Bragg, he said in his office, he also wrote a memo about certain points. And he did say that most people won't get a prison sentence except the ones that did homicides, other cases like domestic violence, felonies, and sex crimes and public corruption. So in his memo, before we go back to the other bullet points, armed robbers, convicted criminals, burglars, and drug dealers are the ones that won't have like a fully sentence. It will be like reduced. And he states armed robbers who use guns or other deadly weapons to stick up stores or other businesses will be prosecuted only for petty larceny, a misdemeanor, provided no victims were seriously injured and there's no genuine risk of physical harm to anyone. Armed robbery, a Class B felony, would typically be punishable by a maximum of 25 years in prison, while petty larceny subjects offenders to up to 364 days in jail and $1,000 fine.
So basically, what that means is that you can use a gun if you're a criminal to rob somebody, and if you get caught, as long as you didn't shoot anybody or hurt anybody with that gun, no problem. You can go back out on the streets.
Basically, which is a danger.
That's just swell. I mean, what do you think's going to happen when they're doing that? If somebody is using a gun to commit a crime and nothing happens to them because they didn't shoot anybody, they're going to go back out and do it again. What's their incentive to stop? That's why you lock people up, because they have demonstrated that they are unwilling to follow the laws of society.
And also New York, especially the city, is so strict with their gun laws. No one else has guns.
Yeah,
no one else has
criminals.
guns.
The criminals have guns.
So it's like
saying going back what you're saying of people can just like have a gun. Also,
go back up. Where the convicted criminals caught with weapons other than guns will have those felony charges downgraded to misdemeanors unless they're also charged with more serious offenses. Criminal possession of a weapon in the third degree, a Class D felony, is punishable by up to 7 years behind bars.
And then you have burglars who steal from residential storage areas, parts of homes that aren't accessible to a living area, and businesses located in mixed-use buildings will be prosecuted for more serious crimes. For a low-level Class D felony that only covers break-ins instead of more serious crimes, my bad. Those more serious crimes, Class B and Class C felonies, will be punishable by up to 25 and up to 15 years in prison, respectively. And then drug dealers believed to be acting as a low-level agent of a seller will be prosecuted only for misdemeanor possession. Also, suspected dealers will only be prosecuted on felony charges if they're also accused of more serious crimes or are actually caught in the act of selling drugs. That felony would mean facing up to 7 years behind bars. There wasn't good responses from like the New York City police commissioners and other people. So
he urged the residents to start a recall election. Correct. So the police are not happy with this, obviously, because what's going to happen is they're going to be constantly putting their lives on the line to arrest the same criminals, because you never know if the criminal decides he's going to use his gun or his knife or whatever he's got to try to harm them, and that's just insane.
Yeah, there's a quote from Fumes Detectives Endowment Association President Paul Diagiacomo. He says, in Bragg's Manhattan, you can resist arrest, deal drugs, obstruct arrest, and even carry a gun and get away with it.
But if you're a law-abiding citizen and you want to have a gun to protect yourself, they won't give you a concealed carry permit. So this literally, there's no incentive for a criminal not to have a gun.
Yeah, you just don't shoot people.
So only law-abiding citizens will be disarmed, and only the criminals will have guns. So the criminals are basically going to own the streets, and the police, they're going to have their hands tied. They arrest the guy, he's right back out in the street.
No. Oh, we would have to see and follow up in the next couple of weeks of what would happen, because they are calling for recall. We're not sure but what the results
but that's
will
something
be.
that takes many, many months, even a year or so, to make happen. And there's no guarantee they won't just vote for the same person.
Yeah, and the media is definitely going to flood more articles and opinions, and maybe other quotes from other commissioners or maybe residents, who knows? Maybe residents. That would be interesting to hear.
That's nuts.
Definitely something to worry about living in New York.
Thank God we live in the free state of Florida. So, I mean, we already seen what happens. You got San Francisco and LA. You've got left-leaning DAs. So I believe that the guys, the DAs in LA and San Francisco, are also people that George Soros supported and helped get elected. I mean, you look at that and you see the results of San Francisco. You know, I read an article a few weeks ago that people are leaving the hatchbacks on their cars open, just so the people don't break their windows.
Yeah, I saw that.
When they're, it's just basically, hey, check. You can go through my car. I got nothing in there. Please don't break my windows. I mean, that's absurd. You know, because people get arrested and they got the no bail thing, so they do their paperwork and they're right back out in the street committing more crimes in a few hours, doing the same thing, and you can't stop them. That's just
trying
nuts.
to stop it, you'll get in more trouble than letting it be.
It just makes it look like his intent is to keep as many criminals on the streets committing crime as much as possible. It doesn't make any sense. What other explanation is there? Why would you? How is that good for the people, the taxpayers, to have because we did the article the other day. We're talking about how everybody in LA is now, they're all buying guns because they're afraid, because the police can't really do anything. You know, they have a recall election going, which it looks like it may be successful. Yeah, because you're basically creating a problem. You're creating a legal problem for the people that live in those areas, and the government can step in. Hey, here's our solution. Give up your guns. Give up this. Give up that, and we'll protect you. But it's like they're literally making it more dangerous to live in LA and San Francisco and now Manhattan because of this.